And I started selling my CDs out the trunk of my car. And I had saved up $300,000.
Damn! If you are a hustler, you can sell anything. You could sell them ice cream in the middle of the winter.
But I'm out of the music industry because ain't no money in the music industry.
Streaming ain't nothing to me. I'm not looking for that to be my business. That's their business. I look at that as just another social media page.
DIY.
Okay, DIYers, over the last week, Master P sat down here with Lamar Tyler on a channel called Traffic Sales and Profit with Lamar Tyler, and I guess they've done many different interviews. But in this interview, Master P is kind of giving you an overview of how he found his success as an independent artist. I know there's a lot of independent artists that watch this content, DIYers, of course.
DIY.
But almost in a very similar way that Method Man out of nowhere said, yeah, you know, the thing about this AI stuff is I ain't never been paid for music streaming. He said the same thing about, you know, there ain't no money in the music business. But at least on this one, he explained his points. But before we get into that, I want him to talk about his origin story, because there's so much to learn from the way that he said no and then pivoted early on in his career. I'm gonna let him cook on this interview. Check it out.
Yeah, so I grew up in the projects in New Orleans, Callio projects, and grew up in poverty. And I realized that the one thing was the only way we could make it out of here, I couldn't get a record deal. I needed to do something to be able to take. I was living in a household with 12 kids. And I lived with my grandparents. So my whole thing was, I was offered $1 million. And so when I got offered that $1 million, I said, I'm gonna be a millionaire. But then I started thinking I have 12 other people at home. So if I gave everybody $100,000, we still broke. And so
Shit, I give 12 of my friends $100,000. They'll be like, hey, we rich. We made it. We made it. Even especially in this economy, we made it, Curtis. Oh man, who cares what's left?
I went to Jimmy Iovine, and he had a check for $1 million.
Hey, Afro Butterfly, you do not hear ICDC College, because that was his son.
Say ICDC.
That wasn't him.
He told me if I don't take that check, nobody's gonna do business with me. And I said, if this white guy offered me $1 million, he don't even know me, I'm a kid from the projects, how much am I really worth? Am I worth 10, 20, 30, 40? So I told him I was going to get something to eat, jumped back on the plane. I jumped on Southwest Airlines, me and my brother. And so,
for those that don't understand, that was a cultural moment that you probably didn't catch. I'm not going to explain it. I'm just going to say that's probably like, why are they screaming about the Southwest Airlines? I mean, their fares are pretty good, but why are they screaming? It's a cultural moment. Calm down.
I had $500 in my pocket at the time. My brother asked me, how much money you have? We could have been a millionaire. I said, I have $500. But what I realized that day, my grandfather told me one thing before he passed. He said, never do business when you're desperate.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
There's a younger version of Curtis that needs to hear that and hear it clear, but it was hard for him to understand that when he got a working capital loan, and he figured out what a working capital loan was because of PayPal. I got a working capital loan one time. It was the most money I had seen in one sitting one time. And they told me I was going to get this amount of money because I made this amount of money selling beats. And I sat there, and instead of mapping out what I'd do with the money, I played Future, focus some commas, focus some commas, and that shit just made me want to spend even quicker. I couldn't wait for that money to come. But yeah, don't go for these money opportunities when you're desperate, because it's like shopping for groceries when you already hungry. You're going to do some really dumb shit.
And so what I realized, I said, I had to start thinking what my worth and my value was. I just got this guy that don't know me offer me $1 million. What am I really worth? So me and my brother about to fight. We on the airplane. We gonna keep it real. We about to fight because he like, now we eating peanuts on Southwest Airlines. And so I say, no, bro, I got it. We gonna make it. That's the only way I calmed him down. He said, how we gonna do that? Because I got this project, the ice cream man, we're gonna sell millions. We're gonna do it on our own. So think about it, if they was gonna give me, I looked at the deal about me going to college. Education is so important. So I read the deal, 7 years I couldn't use my name. They own my rights, everything. And so I was gonna get 12% a record. And I said, how much money is that really? What's the difference was, y'all know back in the days, we selling cassettes for $9, selling CDs for $20. So imagine me making that $20 and giving them 12 cents. And so when I figured that part out, I said, I'm gonna sell this out the trunk of my car because I watched the Avon lady. This old lady in my hood, I used to follow her around. And so.
Bro, that shit is so inspiring to hear right now, especially when you see that there's a lot of artists who lack that part of their game. They lack that part of the hustle. A lot of them feel like hustling is sending 1,000 DMs, and that's a lot of work, but it's not the same kind of work as getting out in front of people and taking that denial every single day to the face. Not pausing that. Having people tell you no. Standing in front of a 7-Eleven. I did it at college. Going to college, and not because you got classes that day, but you're trying to sell CDs or even give them away, and people won't take them. That does something to your character. It builds it or it crushes you and makes you never want to do this shit again. But that right there, learning from the Avon lady and seeing the way that she got down and did like that.
She tell me, she said, what you doing? You the police? I said, no, I'm just trying to see what you doing. And so I watched her sell her Tupperware out the trunk of her car, and I said, I'm gonna sell my CDs out the trunk of my car.
Sheesh.
And I'm gonna go to every city, every hood. I hear from Atlanta to Texas to Chicago to New York, and I start selling my CDs out the trunk of my car. And I had saved up $300,000.
Damn!
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Boom!
$300,000 selling hand-to-hand music. And there are still artists, including I think Kodak Black at one time, who didn't want to listen to this man talk. I wish this dude was my uncle. Wish he's my uncle. I don't care if he tell long-winded stories. I don't care. I sit there and listen to all these motherfucking stories. Do you hear that? $300,000. Do you know what you learn about human beings after selling that many units for $300,000? Do you know what you learn about the psychology of human beings? What songs to show them? What songs work? What? $300,000.
And that's why sometimes when you have money, you don't tell people you got money. So I was in the ghetto. I had $300,000 saved up. I hid it, doing what I got to do, because.
Are people still using CDs is the question that was asked by 7th Note Official. I think that's asking the wrong question. I think that it doesn't matter what you sell. If you are a hustler, you notice, and you know this, you've heard this. If you are a hustler, you can sell anything. If you are a hustler, you can sell anything. Even if it's against someone's own, you could sell them ice cream in the middle of the winter. You can sell them air. How do I know that? Because at one point in time, some of y'all was out here buying farts in a jar. That's selling air. Erykah Badu selling incense that was the same smell as her nana. And people, it sold out. The people that you're afraid to sell CDs to, because you're like, yeah, nobody gonna buy no CDs. The people that you're afraid of selling CDs to, their mom and dad used to buy something called a fucking pet rock in a box. A pet rock in a yellow box. What you're selling is not a CD if you know what you're doing. What you're selling is an experience. What you're selling is an opportunity to buy in when the price is low. It's an opportunity for you to say, think about it like this. Imagine you meet an artist right now that sold you a CD out in front of your local store or whatever. Imagine that artist goes on to be as big as an artist like a Kendrick. How valuable would that CD be 15 years later? I'm selling CDs as we speak. This shit ain't cheap, especially now, but we're selling them. Vinyls are selling. You just got to get creative about what you're selling and be creative about the message that you're pushing. You're not selling a CD, dog. This is why I listen to OGs like Master P, because he's telling you how to sell the experience.
The next step was trying to figure out what I'm going to do with my business. So I had to learn the business. And so I found it. I said, who was the biggest artist in the world? It was Michael Jackson at the time. So I said, I'm going to call Michael Jackson attorney. So the guy talked to me. He said, who? Master P, what do you want? Michael Jackson is my client. I said, well, look, I want to find out what kind of deal Michael Jackson have. He said, that's going to cost you $25,000. I said, $25,000 to talk to you? I'm going to give you the $25,000. That was the best money I ever spent. So investing in yourself. And so I asked him, I said, what's the deal bigger than Michael Jackson? Michael Jackson was getting 22% of record. And I'm like, he owned Neverland. He got 22% of record. This got to be crazy. So I said, what's the next deal? He said, you can get a distribution deal, but you're going to need $200,000 marketing money. That's the only way you could get it. But he don't know I was already selling CDs out the trunk of my car. And so that's why I tell y'all, you are your best investment.
Cut it right there. You should definitely check out the rest of the interview, but I want to go to this other portion because I think this one was the one that was a little bit more random and a little bit more concerning, only because when you hear somebody like this that's a hustler, that knows, like now he's at the point where he's not even just selling music anymore. He's selling cereals and he's selling food and he's selling rap snacks and all these different things. This part is where he talks about what's going on right now with the music industry.
Cause I'm representing for the West Coast.
My nigga, I don't speak on it, cause I got nothing to prove. But I swear this beat asking for a moment of truth. I guess we here now. And now you niggas finna hear me out. Like kids yelling after school at the county house. Carson, Paramount, Long Beach, Compton, Rialto, Dino, Rancho, County. That's a West Side story bounced around like Apollos. Don't know where I call my home, but nigga follow. Wanna know what Curtis King got in common with these streets? The same thing I probably got in common with these palm trees. Watching, rocking, listening, talking. May not look like them, but I know the posture. The OG saw my potential to be a scholar. Kinda sound like my pops, but mixed with street knowledge. Oh God, I done been with cholas and ghetto queens. They got me 211s and some chicken wings. You see, a widow is never what you call a king. I'm a mama, I'm a combination of everything. On the llama where a nigga got his first name. Married to the game like Short with the wedding ring.
But I'm representing for the West Coast. Always put the pedal to the metal. Cause I'm representing for the West Coast. I'm always getting to the chili. Go take my resume, you feel me? All of that hate you need to let go.
Artists on No Limit has always been a family and a team atmosphere. I said, you can't be successful unless you create other millionaires. That's why we still could go on the road, because I created other millionaires. And we could still be happy. We're not angry and upset at each other because everybody had an opportunity to do what they need to do with their money, because they all made money. And so when I got out of the music business, whoever want to still be in it, that's fine. But I'm out of the music industry because ain't no money in the music industry. And I know people might get mad and trip, but I'm just saying, y'all know it's a lot of things that we used to do. It ain't no money, and you know it done tapped out. They trying to figure out how to make money off of streams. When Snoop put a post up, said, man, I sold 1 billion streams. I only made this little money. Where the millions at?
He reacted to all this content too. He ain't lying.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
That's why I got so much love for y'all in here who you don't have to buy my music. You don't have to buy my CDs to show your love and support for what I do. But I appreciate you championing some of these conversations that I've had, because you guys, maybe you don't know or do know, a year ago when I chose to take my music off of streaming, a lot of people said some really nasty shit to me, really nasty things to me, right? I thank God that I was prepared and I had the thick skin to have the conversations and to take all the criticism, to take all of the punches and all of that. I thank God I was prepared for that. But it was a lot of people who had a lot of bad things to say about this idea of art being worth something. And when you would think it would be somebody who may be an employee of Spotify, it wasn't. When you'd think it'd be somebody at one of these websites that make money off of streaming, it wasn't. It was the fucking artists. I was getting pushback from artists. Artists that I would love, even if I don't love your music, I would love for you to be able to make your money off of the thing that you spend so much money on. Because last time I checked, studios are not free. Music equipment is not free. Features are not free. The gas money to do all these things are not free. The microphones are not free. But there's a reason why these companies like Sam Ash are going out of business, because we don't have any money to pay for the equipment if we're not in a position to even sell the end results of using the equipment. I knew I didn't sound crazy then, but I sound crazy now for explaining it, because you guys are seeing now so many people are going direct to consumer. Artists like Kanye West, even I just saw recently Lotto was doing it. Like, it's all kind of artists that are figuring out, wait a minute, people are willing to buy the digital copy?
We knew where our money from because we had tangible goods. And that's why I got into the product game. We could actually have tangible goods. I told people all the time, product outweighs talent. Product gonna be around when we're not here. Michael Jordan is still successful because of the shoes, not because of him shooting balls into the hoop. That been over. Father Time did that. But guess what? Look at the business he was able to create. Mm-hmm. And I looked at, we need to create more African-American owned business because we make 0.1% of all the Fortune 500 companies. And we spend trillions of dollars. So people laugh at me, say, well, Pete, why you came up with cereal? We're the #1 consumer cereal. Go look and see how much those big companies make off of cereal off of us. And then people tell me, oh, well, you got sugar in the cereal. They've been having sugar in their cereal for 100 years. What you think we grew up on? So you wouldn't want me to build a brand, me and Snoop, to build a brand in the company and put money back into our community, educate our people, give our people opportunities and jobs, but y'all gonna let them do it? That's like somebody saying, don't make Snickers. You let them make billions of dollars off us, but if we make a Snicker, oh man, a black man got a Snicker with sugar. That was the Snicker been had.
Talk about it.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
That's bucket list shit, man. I just want to I just want to meet the OG one day. I want to sit down. I want to have a long-winded conversation about all of this and about where things are going, because I feel like he could give me a lot of insight, and I feel like I could give him a lot of insight to some of the things that I'm seeing here on the ground level of this independence. But it's so crazy how the lessons that he went through, the things that he is teaching are still relevant. I know people want to bring up and highlight family issues and all of this shit. I'm not here for none of that shit. All right, I'm not saying any of these people are perfect. What I am saying is that the information they are giving, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what those other things are. If you can get the information, it could be something that could be groundbreaking for you, and that's what it is on me. I listen to this and I'm like, it's needed. It's needed right now.
Then if it didn't have it, they'd be like, you're making something dry that don't taste good.
What you want me to make? A sugar-free Snicker?
Man, shout out one more time to the OG, bro. That's dope. That's dope. Okay, DIYers. How about some final thoughts here? Final thoughts. First of all, final thought, Beige EP is out right now by Curtis King and Iman Omari. I highly suggest you listen to that. Maybe we'll save some time at the end for you to be able to listen to it in its entirety here on the stream. Say what you want to say. If you want to stay cool. If not, I ain't tripping. I appreciate you being here for the duration of this stream. It's been a little bit of a longer stream. 3 hours is kind of long for the reactions, but nonetheless, I thank you for that. Master P, I thank you for existing in this space where I know there's so many people who take for granted the information you give. I'm sorry that some of these niggas are so ungrateful. I'm sorry that they don't see the genius that exists within you and the stories that we can learn from in the process. I'm sorry, OG. But there's so many folks out here like myself that see what you do, and we want to learn, because we will be the ones responsible for entrepreneurship in this next era. We will be the ones that bring the value back to the music. We will be the ones that don't abandon physical media, physical music. Why? Because in a time where people think the internet is forever and that nobody needs physical, remind yourself, gamers, the last time you had a game that was available on one of your Xbox accounts or whatever you're using from PlayStation, and it was no longer available anymore because of some kind of licensing issue. How hard is it to get that game now? How much is that game now that you used to have access to through a subscription? Doesn't it suck? What about when it happened to me recently when Amazon took away Sanford & Son? I love that show, right? Sanford & Son, they took it away off of Amazon Prime. It's kind of the reason why I was paying for it. It sounds crazy, but I was paying for it because I love that series. It's not here anymore. You know what I still have in my closet right now that will never, unless it gets scratched, be an issue? The entire compilation of, you about to say Sanford & Son? No, of The Wire. I'll never have any issues with that because I still got a DVD player and I still have that physical media. And that physical media takes on a different value when the person that is behind the physical media takes on a different value. Yes, this CD right now is $10. But if I do what I'm supposed to do and I continue to carve out my space as a
DIY,
it would be a pleasure and an honor for some of you to have this in your presence, because you're going to be able to use it, sell it off, and it's going to be some extra money than it was today. But that's my job. As an independent artist, it is my job to make this shit more valuable. It is my job to make sure my brand is always growing. It is my job to do things that are outside the box, like these stories. It is my job to make sure that I get in front of people, that I touch the people at the core, that I touch the people in their heart, that I stay in their memory. It is my job. This is not something I should look at as like, oh, why do I have to do it? No, I get to do this shit independently, dog. I get to do it. And in the process, I get to work with whoever the hell I want to work with. I'm not signed. Can't nobody tell me who I can and can't work with. And I'm grateful for that. But some of y'all are operating out here as if you're still signed. You're mentally signed, but you're physically independent. Don't wait until it's too late to look up and see like, damn, I had more freedom than I was even taking advantage of, because I was so worried about what people were going to say about me. I was so worried about trying to get somebody to take care of my business when I had the same 24 hours to do it for myself and learn it myself and then hire and delegate these responsibilities. But we're living in a time where we can sit here in a video. You can watch it through your smartphone. I can react to a video from none other than one of the greatest to ever do it in independence, in Master P. And people still look at that and say, it's just boring. You get what you put into this, and independence has never been more beautiful. I know it's a lot of crazy shit happening right now that's discouraging. Streaming can be discouraging, but I tell you, I'm looking at it now after this project has been out. Streaming ain't nothing to me. I'm not looking for that to be my business. That's their business. And matter of fact, it ain't a good business for artists. I look at that as just another social media page. If I need Instagram to make millions, then I don't have a business. Instagram has a business. Instagram is making me millions. But if I develop a product that I can house on my CurtisKing.com website, I got a product. No matter where you put it, no matter who's hosting it, that people will come back to, as long as I'm doing my job to increase my brand, and that's where I'm at with it. So I suggest to you, instead of complaining, if those of you out there complaining, get on your job. For those of you that are discouraged, find some other work to do. In the famous words of Fonte from Little Brother, dope beats, dope rhymes, what more do y'all want? These are my thoughts, DIYers. You let me know what you're thinking. BGP right now. BGP by Curtis King and Iman Amar right now. It's out right now.
DIY.
DIYers, if you enjoyed this content, make sure that you hit the like button and maybe even consider subscribing. Come on, man. Stop being greedy. Peace.